Hello, this is Glenda with AKA GK Fralin, a friendly community. And you are very welcome. To tackle the liver cancer awareness for this month, I say tackle not because it's a bad thing to do. It's a little hard to get around the information on my end because I'm trying to communicate it. So I am going to tell you where I get it from, and there are other places you can look, but I am going to simply deal with causes or risk factors. And I'm not going to take the time to get into all the symptoms. So I think if you have symptoms, it's going to show up first. Probably first, it's going to show up with most types in your liver panels. That's part of your blood work. But that's something you need to talk to your doctor about. Okay, liver cancer risk factors, and I am taking this directly from the American Cancer Society website. There's others. I'll put the web address in the drop-down box in the description so that you can go and find this link. I will put it at the top right under the description for this video. There is a cancer helpline, and I will give you the number here. It's 800-227-2345. So the last four digits shouldn't be hard to remember. 800, I will repeat that again, 800-227-2345. And they also have a live chat link that you can use if you are wanting to discuss something with them. And they do, like any other foundation or research group, look for donations. So I will give you that. But this tonight is not about that. I'm just letting you know. They do look for donations. Tonight is simply about risk factors for liver cancer. And a risk factor is anything that affects your chance of getting the disease, such as liver cancer. Different cancers have different risk factors. Some risk factors, like smoking, can be changed. Others, like a person's age and family history, can't. Oh, that's pretty logical. Some risk factors you can have no control over, such as race, gender, any of those. Hepatocellular carcinoma, or liver cancer, is much more common in males than females. It is, well, down here under the anabolic steroids are male hormones. And so I'm going to make that link. I'm not sure if it is a real link. Anyway, much of this is probably because of behaviors affecting some of the risk factors developed below. In the United States, Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders have the highest rates of liver cancer, followed by American Indians, Alaskan Natives, and Hispanics, Latinos, and African Americans, and then whites. Now, I don't know why this is so, but it is so. And so if you are Asian American, Pacific Islander, or the higher up you are in that risk level, then please keep yourself checked and be aware. Just be aware of being careful of all the other risk factors that you have control over. And some of them may be more prone in some, I don't know. But just be, it's like African Americans have a higher rate of blood pressure and heart disease, for many reasons, all of which I don't know. So it's good to be aware. Anyway, chronic viral hepatitis, hepatitis B or hepatitis C. Now these are viral. So later when I talk about HBV or HCV, that's talking about your hepatitis B or C virus. Okay. The most common risk factor for liver cancer is chronic long-term infection with hepatitis B or hepatitis C. These infections lead to cirrhosis of the liver. And cirrhosis seems to be one of the words that comes up very frequently when it comes to liver cancer. And these are responsible for making liver cancer the most common cancer in many parts of the world. In the United States, infection with hepatitis C is the more common cause of HCC, while in Asia and developing countries, hepatitis B is more common. People infected with both viruses have a high risk of developing chronic hepatitis, cirrhosis, and liver cancer. The risk is even higher if they are heavy drinkers, at least 6 standard drinks per day. Okay, so you can see that if you put the more risk factors you put together, the better chance you have of this thing, of this. But the thing to remember about hepatitis B and hepatitis C is, at least in the United States, in most places, you can be vaccinated for this. I'll leave it at that. Okay, these can also be passed on through blood transfusions, although this is very rare in the United States since the start of blood product testing for these viruses in developing countries. Children sometimes contract hepatitis B infection from prolonged contact with family members who are infected. In the United States, I think probably at least back when, some of your most common places to catch it would be prisons, working in prisons or being in prison, being in an institution or working in an institution, and most of the time employees and sometimes inmates are vaccinated as a part of their employment and or incarceration. So in the United States and other developed countries, it's just important. It's available, guys. Get it done. Get your vaccines. Now, hepatitis B or HBV, more commonly, your symptoms are going to be flu-like, but you'll also notice a yellowing in the eyes and skin. That's called jaundice. Liver disease does cause jaundice. And in adults, jaundice in adults, that is an alarm. It's an alarm to go get checked. Okay, cirrhosis is a disease in which liver cells become damaged and are replaced by scar tissue. And that scar tissue can develop has more chance of developing cancer cells within the liver. Most, but not all, liver cancer, people with liver cancer already have some evidence of cirrhosis. And that can come from heavy drinking, HBV, HCV, which are your hepatitis V and C viruses, non-alcoholic fatty liver, that is another problem. Obese people, that is a problem, can cause cirrhosis. Primary bilirubin or biliary cirrhosis, bile ducts. And if these bile ducts in the liver are damaged or even destroyed, that can lead to cirrhosis. People with advanced um, primary biliary cirrhosis, or PBC, have a higher risk of liver cancer. Inherited metabolic diseases. Now, there are certain people who have an inherited tendency to not absorb iron very well from their food, and the iron settles in the tissues throughout the body instead of being filtered through and used by the body. It settles in the tissues. Heavy alcohol use. That has been a known cause of cirrhosis and possible liver cancer for many years. Obesity. Yes, I'm obese. I have not always been obese. That doesn't give me an excuse, or it does not make me any safer now that I am, but it is a risk for liver cancer. Now, it's a lot of times when you pile these things on top of each other. Type 2 diabetes, often caused by obesity or diet. It's linked with increased risk of liver cancer, usually in patients who also have other high-risk factors such as heavy use of alcohol, chronic viral hepatitis. The risk may be increased because people with type 2 diabetes tend to be overweight or obese, which can cause liver problems. There are certain rare diseases, and there's about 5 of them listed here. Okay, I'm going to try and trip over some of these pronunciations. Tyrosinemia, alpha-1 antitrypsin deficiency, porphyria cutanea tarda, glycogen storage diseases, and Wilson's disease. Thank goodness the last two weren't so hard. Aflatoxins. These cancer-causing substances are made by a fungus that contaminates peanuts, wheat, soybeans, ground nuts, corn, and rice. Storage in moist, warm environments can lead to growth of this fungus. Although this can occur almost anywhere in the world, it is more common in warmer and tropical countries. Developed countries such as the United States and those in Europe regulate the content of aflatoxins in foods through testing. Long-term exposure to these substances is a major risk factor in liver cancer. The risk is increased even more in people with hepatitis B or C infections. I read that directly from their script here because I want to be accurate. Okay. Vinyl chloride and thorium dioxide. Okay, exposure to these chemicals raises the risk of angiosarcoma of the liver. It also increases the risk of developing cholangiocarcinoma and hepatocellular cancer. I did it. But to a far lesser degree. I am going to try and do a 2-part on this on the same day because it is longer than I expected. And I just want you to all know that I care about you and that I am doing this because it is a Liver Cancer Awareness Month. And so I'm giving you those factors just to be aware, because that's what it's about. So I will meet you again in part 2.